Hi, this is Lynn McMullen, and I'm going to be talking about the Peace Alliance and about the new strategic plan that we're going to be putting out. And the intent of this is really to engage you in the new strategic plan and some of the significant additions and some of the thinking behind the plan. And I want you to think of this and the plan itself. I'm really extending an invitation to you to really engage in a dialogue. We'd really like to hear what excites you about this plan, what concerns do you have about it, suggestions for how we can make it better, and we'd really love to hear how you imagine implementing this. We'll be going through this process together in the coming few weeks, and we hope to wrap up this dialogue and get a final copy of the strategic plan out to you for you to be able to begin your local planning. The strategic plan, when you read it, you'll see there's 5 overarching areas to the plan. There's the legislative strategy. There's an area we call peace building, community peace building. Then there's media and grassroots and organization of the grassroots. And then finally, the fundraising and the organizational sustainability. And so the thing that I'm excited about the plan is that every one of these 5 areas is been thought about a lot in conversations with board and staff, and like the fundraising part, I talked to fundraising experts, and the goal was to integrate the purpose of the work into each strand so that each of these sub-strands of the plan, if implemented by itself, would move peace building forward in the world, just if this was done, this one little area. But the most exciting thing is to begin to imagine what the synergistic impact will be if all of these strands are happening at the same time. So as you're thinking about this and about what part you want to play, imagine all of them happening at the same time, and then you can really create your own perfect plan to do the part you really want to do. And I think that'll be the most exciting way to begin moving the plan from paper to action. The focus of this presentation that you're listening to is really to say a few things about the legislative component of the strategic plan and the community peace building component of the strategic plan. And the reason for that these are the focuses of this presentation is because that these are the 2 areas that are either new in the case of community peace building or a clarification of this legislative plan. Other parts of the plan, which include the fundraising and sustainability component, the grassroots growth and support component, I won't be talking about them here, but do go to the main document and give your input on the core document itself. We've accomplished so much together over these last 6 years, and I think it's so amazing what we've done. There's these slides in this PowerPoint. You can see the list of some of the things we've done, and there's, it's amazing. Giving out peace building awards and building awareness of the Department of Peace and building relationships with Congress and thousands of people writing letters to their government and passing city and council resolutions and county council resolutions and dozens of gatherings and conferences. And I think the most important thing to me that we've achieved in all of it is that I believe we have strengthened the belief everywhere that peace is possible. And I think we have strengthened the faith and belief that peace is possible in our homes, in our communities, and it's possible in our lifetimes. The 5 areas of the plan, the very first area that we want to tackle really is legislation. And the reason for that, we want to actually strengthen and sophisticate our legislative strategy. So I just want to underline about all of this around the legislative plan is that this is the beginning of a dialogue. We're really interested in what you're thinking about all of this and in terms of our legislative strategy and about how we can move forward. The reason why it's so important in my mind that we have a really thought through legislative strategy is that we want to make the maximum impact we can with our collective political voice. And we have activists in more than 100 cities across the U.S. So we want to create a legislative strategy that will maximize our impact. Now, when you look at this co-sponsor slide, for 6 years of advocacy, we have not actually gained traction or generated momentum that would lead to the passage of the Department of Peace legislation. And you can see that yourself. We have been rethinking and thinking a lot about our legislative strategies over these past months, and one of the things I think is useful is to really consider the intent behind a Department of Peace. And if you look at the legislation 808 and the earlier versions of this bill, what you see is that there's two sides or two key parts to the Department of Peace. One is the programmatic support. And what I mean by that is funding and infrastructure and oversight and the support in the development of the programs that are doing the work of peace building on the ground. And so that side I'm calling programmatic, and what the programmatic includes is the funding streams to build the capacity of these programs, and as well as the infrastructure that it allows for quality investment. So that's kind of the one side. Now the second side of the Department of Peace legislation is a strong structural change, a restructuring of the federal government and the generation of a new department. And the purpose of that is really, as you well know maybe, is that to really give peace and peace building a voice at the tables of power where decision making is being made. Now, if you look at the slide earlier that showed that we have 74 co-sponsors, really shows that we have not gained traction nor convinced the Congress. And in your own conversations, you've probably seen that people are not convinced about the structural issue of a new department, but they are pretty convinced about the investments in effective program, that there's an openness, an interest, and a willingness that Congress has right now to fund programs that are efficient on the ground. So by separating out these two parts of the department, it will allow us to actually move both of them forward more effectively.